Continuing our conversation with Representative Corey Williams, who co-authored a bill that will allow alcoholic drinks to be sold at our theaters this coming fall. We had people write in, so let's get straight to them here. Aaron Williams said, as a retired movie theater manager of 32 years, I'm against it. We had too many problems with people coming in from off the street half lit anyways. What do you say to Aaron?
We actually discussed that, and that was what I kind of alluded to earlier. AMC has found that rates of incidents go down in the theaters where they serve alcohol because every single person that works in that, whether it's the janitor, the ticket taker, the concession stand operator, is trained with regard to alcohol. And so spotting it as it comes in the door, making sure underage people don't participate in it, making sure people don't overconsume while they're on premises, those all became trained skills that their employees have, and the rates of incidents go down in the theaters where alcohol is actually served. Okay,
so you're saying put those fears to rest. Probably not going to happen at the rate of which you're thinking that it could.
No, because what we did learn also is that a theater, half that ticket cost that a theater takes in goes back to Hollywood. And so the last thing a theater owner wants to do is get in the business of refunding ticket cost to dissatisfied patrons because somebody within the theater was obnoxious in creating a scene. So they're going to be watching it like a hawk. The last thing they want to do is lose money on this.
All right, good to know. Dave wrote in, said, what new measures will be put in place to guarantee those who are drinking are of legal age? Will there be screenings at the door to make sure minors aren't sneaking it in? And, you know, Representative, I know that you've kind of touched on these in the last segment, but for people who are just now joining, what measures, what security measures are in place?
The bill requires everybody that's going to consume alcohol to be not only ID'd, but to wear a wristband and have a hand stamp. And most theaters that serve alcohol, they don't do so from the concession stand. They do so from a separate kind of a bar area. And so we do require that IDs be checked, and the ushers will be looking for those people. They'll be served in different cups, so you'll see people with bracelets or hand stamps drinking out of a different cup, and if they don't have those and they're consuming, then they'll be removed from the theater.
Okay. Is there a limit as to the number of drinks somebody can have? Or
there is not, but again, I think that's going to be driven by economic factors.
Okay. Amber Kalady wrote in, says, have questions. Is every theater selling alcohol, and do you not have to be a certain age to enter as any other place would be to sell alcohol? And you just pointed that out. You will have to show an ID. Will every theater be selling alcohol?
I think that's doubtful. I think there will be many theater owners that choose not to explore this kind of a business model. We're just allowing the business operators to choose whether or not. And no, there will not be a restriction on the age. It'll be much like whenever you go to a restaurant, somebody at the next table to you may be partaking in alcohol, but you or your companions may not be.
Okay, you and I were just talking before break. I was saying the Warren Theater sells.
Yes.
How do they sell? And you said most have not, because that requires kind of a kitchen, I guess, at the Warren Theater, right. And the cost of that is just astronomical. That most theaters don't want to.
There are two things about the Warren Theater. They have a second premises that is a controlled access, 21 and up, upstairs, and then they also have a kitchen attached to it. And both of those things actually are very cost prohibitive for, let's say, small scale independent theater operators that want to continue to be in business but need additional revenue because Hollywood takes a bigger and bigger cut of the ticket sales on a yearly basis.
And do talk about the economic impact this could have. We talk about the negatives, what could happen, but what does this mean for movie theaters?
These kind of theaters have actually been shown to be a very successful anchor, so much so that they've been able to put them into blighted retail centers that are dying and going out of business, and really revitalize those retail centers. Here in Oklahoma City, one of these kind of theaters is going to be an anchor for a development up on 235, and Britain, I believe, just right up by the American Fidelity campus. And so we believe the economic impact is actually going to be substantial. From my point of view, certainly we care about the large theater owners, but I'm actually more concerned about the independent theater owners and giving small rural communities in Oklahoma the ability to have a small theater in downtown that's independent, that might be able to do it because of a revenue stream based in part off of alcohol sales.
Christopher Crockett wrote in, said this, is this really what we need? Another place where people can get drunk and then get behind the wheel of a car. Do you think that this will cause an uptick in drunk driving accidents, incidents leaving the movie theater every night?
people still have to be responsible. And I'm always very careful to say this is the responsible sale of alcohol in movie theaters. And I understand the emotional reaction that comes with seeing this at first blush, but that's why we reached out to law enforcement in other areas where these theaters operate. And what they've said is we actually don't see any increase in DUIs, we don't see any increase in public intoxes, and we don't see any increase in any alcohol-related criminal activity at all. If anything, they see a little bit of a decrease because it's a well-regulated enterprise.
And my last question to you, I was telling you, I posted on social media earlier just trying to take people's temperatures, right. And overwhelmingly the responses were negative towards this. I don't know, what people think statewide,
right.
But what do you tell those people who are worried about this and don't like this bill? How do you allay their fears that this is going to cause mayhem?
I don't think anything I can tell them will necessarily make them feel better, other than give it a chance. And that this wasn't some on the whim situation. We brought in the experts, we brought in law enforcement, we brought in the National Director of Alcohol Sales for AMC, and we brought in some others that gave us best practices and best ways to implement this, and actually gave us the empirical data that shows security is not impacted, criminal activity is not impacted. I think it's one of those things where certainly it's new, and there's some concern, but if you remember, voters overwhelmingly supported alcohol reform on the November ballot.
Sure.
And so while I think you heard some very rational arguments and concerns against it, I don't think that's the overwhelming majority of Oklahomans.
Yeah, some people just don't like change, but you definitely have done your homework in this, and
right.
we look forward to seeing how this goes come October.
Thanks, as well as I.
Yeah. Representative Corey Williams, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
We
appreciate
do appreciate your time. KOCO 5 News at 9 o'clock continues right after this.